Good morning. Hi. So happy to be here with you today. It's a beautiful day. I'm hoping you guys can hear me. I changed around my mic setup. Every time I change something, who knows what's going to happen. But today we're talking about joy. And we're talking about joy with a guest who isn't here. Now, I'm 90% sure this is my problem. Whatever happened is my fault. But we may at some point today have Kat McDonald join us. And if she joins us, she's our joy lady. So we'll talk about joy when she comes. Until then, I'm not joyful, but like I really want to talk about joy with Kat. So until then, I'm gonna just tell y'all, hi, I'm back in Mexico City. I'm jet lagged, which leads to a little bit of delirium. Okay, so she is coming. And it sounds like it wasn't my fault. Yay. I sent her the link to join at like 5 a.m. this morning because I woke up at 4 a.m. I went to bed at like 9:30, woke up at midnight, and I've been up ever since. Hi. Not just awake, but my watch clocked that I walked for at least a minute every hour between midnight and now. Every single hour. I wasn't just awake, I was like doing things. So, the day is going. This evening, there is group coaching. I'm hosting group coaching for my Move Abroad and Career Break program from Burnout to Bliss. So I can't even pretend the day is over when I'm done here. I got to be on later on today. So if you're in from Burnout to Bliss, I hope to see you this evening. Kat is joining now. Looking wonderful. Hi. I think that's all I had to tell you. Yeah, I'm an absolute lunatic right now. So if I get on here and start talking crazy to Kat, it's not me, it's the jet lag, right? Okay, y'all got me. Good morning to everyone in the comments and hello to everyone watching on the replay. Let's go. I'm going to bring Kat to the stage. I think most of you guys know her already, but we're going to say hi anyway. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Okay, no, can't hear you.
God damn it.
We're going to work this out. All right.
Oh, wait. Hello? No?
Kat's computer said absolutely not.
Oh, God.
Absolutely not.
Shitty?
Nothing.
No. All right, I'm going to...
Oh, wait. They can hear you guys, so it's me that can't hear you. Say something now.
Why?
I still can't hear you. Okay, everybody can hear you, Kat, and I can't hear you, which I think is important for an interview. Let's see. Kat, I already took the blame for anything going wrong. No, it's supposed to be right.
I'll take it. Let's see. Audio. Let me see what my audio is doing. Built-in headphones.
I don't know how to fix it because the setting is right.
External.
So let me try one thing.
Why is it always my life? This is my life.
No, okay, here we go.
This is my life. Hello?
No.
No.
Why would that be muted? Here we go. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. That is wonderful. I am so happy.
This is my first time sitting back at my computer in the 6 weeks I've been gone, sitting at this computer. Yeah. And it restarted, and I guess when it restarted, it changed the settings. So there were settings I didn't know. But y'all, we're here.
Hello.
Hello.
You're back in Mexico.
What was that?
You're back in Mexico.
I am. I'm very happy to be back here, except it's very hot. Like it's 9 a.m. and I have the fan on. And I'm wearing, the shirt isn't really shirty, right?
Right.
But I'm hot. Hot. But I did work out this morning, so that could.
You genius.
Because lunacy, right? Jet lag, craziness. I was like, why not? I'm awake. I could try to sleep for this hour, but it's not working. So let's get it from workout. So I worked out. So that also might be why I'm sweating. I ran for the first time in years.
Oh, wow.
I ran a mile and a half.
so. Okay. Where did you run?
Treadmill downstairs.
Ah, okay. Because sidewalks, ma'am. Sidewalks.
In cars.
That too. Yeah.
Kat is familiar with Mexico City, and she knows that sidewalks. Pedestrians have a right. Like your right is to not die. But like anything short of that, we'll see what happens, right? Like that's about it. So actually, let's start from the top. Everyone, we are so happy to be here with Kat from Rebloom Room. Kat, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Kat from Rebloom Room. And so I started Rebloom Room as a blog, and it morphed from a blog to a podcast to a YouTube channel to a business that runs retreats and, among other things, doing things. And yeah, I'm really interested in sort of running experiments. No, I don't want to try out experimental IA features. Running experiments, yes, to figure out what makes me happy. And in the meantime, hopefully helping other people to find out what makes them happy, what brings joy to their lives, what brings more calm, helps them be more centered, grounded, happier, connected, all of that.
Okay. And when did you start this?
Wow. Probably 2016, 15 maybe. So it's been going on for a while. I think I started as a vegan. I was vegan and I started as a vegan blogger.
Okay.
And then I had a young child, so I was also doing this newsletter that would talk about events for parents with children in the DC area. So different events. I did like a little newsletter, email newsletter for that. And then I started interviewing women travelers, women expats. Adelia was one of the first people that I interviewed for my blog. And then when it turned into a podcast, I also interviewed her when she was in Central America. So it's been a while. I've been morphing it, and it's been morphing to fit my life and what I need and what I think people around me might need. Yeah, so it's been just a big experiment for me.
Okay. Now let's talk about what your life looks like now.
My life looks like now. What does it look like? I'm in a big, I'm at a, not exactly a crossroads moment, but a big watershed moment. My kid just went off to college. This is my kid's second semester in college. I just turned 60. Hello, Pisces season. And I quit my job in November.
Okay.
So there's a lot of little flags waving in the breeze, what's happening next? I'm at early empty nester phase, sort of looking around at this new landscape, figuring out what my next chapter is going to be.
That description that you just used, early empty nester, when you said it, it makes perfect sense to me. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I've never heard anyone use that term before.
Yeah. It's a transition because, you're so focused on being a parent, and, what does she need? What do we got to do for school? What do we got to do for summer camp? What do we got, all of the things. And then suddenly you have this semi-independent quasi-adults who doesn't live in your house anymore most of the time. And I'm looking around, I'm like, do I need all this space? Do I need all this stuff? Do I even need this house? Do I even need to be in this city? Do I need to be in this country? How do I change my life so it fits this? So I'm not looking at empty spaces in my life, physically and emotionally and psychologically looking at empty space. How do I reconfigure my life so it actually fits what's really here, what's really happening? Yeah, it's there's a vacuum when your kid leaves for college or when they, move out of the house, even if it's sort of quasi most of the year, not all of the year. There's a vacuum. So what do you fill the vacuum with? Or do you let it just sit there and be a vacuum? Or do you reconfigure stuff? So yeah, that's where it is.
What are you doing with that vacuum?
Well, I did quit my job in December. I got a contract gig and I went to Mexico for 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
What I know that you waited to make a lot of changes until after your daughter left.
Mhm.
How are you feeling now while she's gone? How do you feel about waiting to make the change now that you're on the other side of it?
Yeah, it was good.
It was good?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And
Yeah.
where in
No
the world?
way.
No way? You had to wait?
Yeah, my kid does not like to travel. My kid likes to be where she is. There's no, like, she's not a very portable person.
Okay.
She's like a potted plant.
All right. Okay. Where in the world are you right now?
I'm in DC.
Okay. At
Yeah,
home?
my hometown.
Your home?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
And
And my feet are itchy. My
you
feet
did
are
have
itchy.
you did have a trip planned.
I did indeed, ma'am. Shall we talk about that, madam?
We can. I was actually hoping that I could talk to you earlier about this before
Yeah.
we got
Yeah.
live. We'll just talk about it live.
Let's just talk about it live, madam. So, people, when you have someone as a coach and they give you advice, you've hired them to give you advice, and you trust that person's advice, and you've taken that person's advice in the past. When they give you some advice that you don't like, do you stop taking the advice? Or do you listen to the advice? This was the question that Kathy Hampton and I had about a week ago. When Rashida Dow came in like a wrecking ball. Can we say that you came in like a wrecking ball?
I heard you say it before, but I thought you were just kind of putting extras on it. I didn't realize I actually wrecked something. I had no idea until I saw your message last night.
Yeah. No, Rashida dropped the video that said, if you come to Mexico City, I will put a hex on you and your family into the future. I will hunt you down. So yeah, Kathy Hampton and I, we have been organizing 4 months.
4 months?
4 literal months.
4 months. Okay.
For
yes.
Many months.
Yes.
Many months. A retreat in Mexico City in April of 2024. And so, we had done a lot of planning. We had contacted contractors, gotten our venue, all the stuff. And, we were chugging away at filling it up. We talked like probably a little bit over a week ago. We just had, regular conversation, like, how's it going? What do you think? And Kathy and I would sort of like almost every call, like one of us would be like, I don't know, this is really hard. Why are we doing this? Blah, blah, blah. And the other one would be like, come on, we can do this. We're going to do this. It's fine. Mm-hmm. And then like this week, it was, it's always like one of us would be like the up or down person. So we had an up or down conversation and, we were like, okay, we're going to do this. We only have to sell out a couple more spots and we'll be full. It's going to be good. The next day, Rashida Dow comes onto the internet and says, don't you dare come to Mexico City. You colonizing MFA.
Say that.
What did you say?
Although there are some people in the comments of that video that I want to say that to, because they're like, I don't care, I'm coming anyway. And I'm like, a hex on your whole family, right? Like, I don't know.
See, she said it.
I did, but I didn't say it in the original video.
But I felt it. I felt it. So yeah, so we watched. So we both of us, Kathy and I, watched the video, and after like we'd had that up conversation with each other, and then we watched the video, and it was like you took a vacuum and like sucked the joy. The joy was like, and then we started thinking like, is this like is this a bump in the road or is this a stop sign? Like, is this something that, we really want to do regardless, or do we want to listen? So we kind of, both of us decided we'd sit with it for 24 hours and do a gut check the next day. And we did some, Googles about the water crisis. So the reason why you're saying that people should not come to Mexico City right now is that there's a water crisis. The pipes in the city lose 40% of the water as they're traversing underneath the city. And the lake that Mexico City depends on for its water is dry as a bone, etc. And so I just felt like watching that video got this pit in my stomach, like, this doesn't feel good. This feels icky. People are suffering, and I'm going to be adding to it if I go. None of what you said is untrue. I mean, it's possible that their news reports are being brought up because it's a mayoral election coming up in Mexico City. Maybe they're trying to, it's possible. I don't know. But what I didn't want was to spend the next, because I knew what would happen every single day up until the point of the retreat. And during the retreat, I would be watching the news, refreshing the news. Is this real? What's happening? Are we going to have water? And I just thought, and Kathy also, if we're not relaxed, how are we going to get other people to relax? How is this ease? How is this relaxing? And how is this ethical? It just felt icky. It just instantaneously felt icky. And it's possible that if you look underneath the cover of any trip that you do, you might find something to feel icky about. It's quite possible. But you're our coach. Both Kathy and I have been your coachees. Yes. And when your coach tells you to do something, you don't ignore it just because you don't like it and just because it's inconvenient. And so we called it. And so we're not doing it. And that's really hard because we really wanted to do it. Yeah, we really, really wanted to, but we also didn't want it to feel icky.
Not doing it now, not doing it ever.
No. We're calling it. Because, I have things going on. Kathy is moving to Portugal. So that, after, she sort of planned her year after the retreat. And then, and life is going to life. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. I asked for you to come on today so that I could bring awareness to the retreat. And I didn't realize until last night.
Thank you very much.
There was no retreat. I saw you answered, but there was nothing you want, nothing to promote. Or anything.
Exactly.
What do you mean there's nothing to promote? You have a retreat.
Exactly.
And that's how I figured out that the retreat wasn't. I went to your website and I was like, oh no, it doesn't say anything about the retreat anymore. So that was a little bit of a surprise for me.
Wasn't it though? Wasn't it a surprise?
It was a surprise.
Surprise.
I think you're doing the really responsible thing. And it's weird hearing people talk about the situation because I hear a lot of it's not that bad. In the comments of that video, there's a lot of it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And there's a lot of there are water shortages everywhere. Okay. But it's not that bad in the sort of a macro view of the thing. You can say people still have water in the city. It's not that bad. But on the micro view, if you come for vacation, if someone comes to a retreat and they don't have water, there's no water in the
Hello.
Right? No. On the macro view, right? It's sure, as long as it doesn't hit you, how bad can it really be?
Yeah.
But on the individual scale, the minute you don't have water, it's what's the problem? By the way, I've been gone for 6 weeks. I have been back and I've been paying, not really, I'm a little delirious. I don't really know what's going on. I just went in the bathroom right now and the level of water in my toilet is lower than I have ever seen it before. It's literally like how you can see I don't know if it's lime scale or what, you can see where the water usually is. It doesn't, how am I going to describe this? You know how in the bottom of the toilet bowl, there's a little.
Okay, we're talking about the bottom.
No. it's not talking bad. Hold on. There's like that little, like the very, very bottom, the little hole in the very, very bottom. That's the only part that has water in my toilet. Nothing, it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like the very, very bottom is the only place that has water. And it's never been like this before. And so I don't know if they're limiting the amount of water into our building or what's going on.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah.
I'm not even like, I have water. When I go to visit tap, water turns on, but I don't know that it's coming like it used to come before.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
And water's always a question in Mexico, regardless. Like you always have to figure out, can I drink the water from the tap? Do you have a whole house filter? Do you have a filter on this tap? Do you have got a phone that gets delivered? Do I have to bring my own water from the flippin' 7-Eleven every time I need to cook some coffee? Like, you know, and when I was in Mexico City, I went to a dinner party, and the person who was cooking was like, well, I started cooking like a couple days ago, but today my water got turned off. And she thought it was just a building thing. But it's like, it's almost normal. Like you lose water for a day, you lose water for half a day, a couple hours. Like it seems like a normal. So water is always a question in Mexico. No matter where you go, you always have to be aware of like, what is the situation? And every household seems to manage it differently. Every neighborhood seems to manage it differently.
And so the difference that we're seeing now is that more people are being impacted, right? Like in Coyoacan, we're hearing about people out of water in Roma Norte. I'm pretty sure some people in Condesa have been impacted. And so those hotspots for tourists are buildings in those places are losing water. And if you're going to stay in those areas, I think there are things you can do to kind of mitigate it, like talk to the owner of the place you're staying about how they get water and what is their backup water plan. But having a backup water plan and then actually making sure it actually happens.
It's all theoretical. It's like a menu in Mexico. It's like, theoretically we have this dish, but don't ask us for it.
That quote, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. Everybody has a plan for water until it's like there's no it's just not coming out the tap. So I'm very, very proud of you for making the hard choice. I don't know. That's the thing about planning live events. You
guys, you and Stephanie have said that you're not going to do it anymore. Let's talk about that. Like, what are your thoughts on planning live events?
Stephanie and I both like things to be easy, and there's no amount of, and so this has always been hard, right? Because it's not a repeat thing. Like the summit so we're talking about the Exodus Summit meetup, which we did in 2022, 2023, 2024. The summit we can do kind of on autopilot-ish, right?
Yeah.
But because we go to a new place each year with the meetup, it's new people, new vendors, finding new things. And no matter how much we outsource, there's still that level of like, is this going to happen? Like, I truly did not know. We took a bus on the last day of our meetup. I wasn't 100% sure the bus was going to show up. All right. So there's like, in my brain,
it's not relaxing.
It's not relaxing. In my brain, I've got a backup plan for all the backup plans. My backup plan was like, y'all gonna have to call some Ubers and we'll pay you back, right? Like, because if there's no bus, I don't know what to do. It's all the things like that. It's, vendors being difficult or changing the plan or just lying to us about certain things. And it's because it's not easy. And it's not insanely profitable.
What are we doing?
Why are we doing? Right? Like joy. We're here to talk about joy. It like being with the women brings me joy. Being at the meetup brings joy. But what are the other ways that we can foster meetups with these same women in a way that does not require work? And we have an idea for for 2025. We'll see what happens.
Mhm.
But we're looking for ways to do it in ways that I'm not stressed about. Is the caterer really bringing this food?
Yeah.
Listen, the meetup started and the caterer wasn't there yet. And I was like, girl, I'll fight about food. Like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what's happening here. I don't like this.
Yeah.
So it's been really, planning live events is difficult. And I think that in your business and your life, you have to figure out what is the thing that brings you joy and how do you keep your eye on that instead of getting distracted by other things, right? Like at one point, do you say this is too hard, right? You got to say this week it's too hard. It's too much. It's too much uncertainty, right? When you're planning a live event, a lot of times the uncertainty isn't over until the event is over.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh, it's never over. Because, people are people. And so things happen. Like people lose their phones, people get sick, people get lost, people, whatever, need all kinds of help and assistance and logistical, emotional, just all kinds of, assistance. So you have to be grounded and you have to be calm and you have to be prepared to give that out to people when they need it.
Yeah. And it's something that, like, if there was a true easy button, and people are always like, oh, just give it to someone else.
Like a travel agent.
There's no amount of giving it away that is going to make me calm and comfortable, right? Because still, like, I'm still responsible for the end result for me, right? Like that's just I'm like, I want to know, like, is this what is the detail? What do we need to know?
Yeah.
And so this doesn't make sense. That didn't make sense for us.
Yeah. So now I'm dreaming of a creative retreat not in a city.
Okay.
Using a travel agent, being in a beautiful place. So yeah, I'm dreaming up like creativity retreats, writing, art.
Yeah. On the other side of that, when you're doing a retreat or any kind of live event, the people who are showing up make such a huge difference, right? Like one year it could be amazing and another year it could be terrible. Now this year, I'm gonna say it, this year I think we had the best ladies yet. Sorry to anyone who didn't make it this year. Sorry. But it was really amazing to be with them and to see them do their thing on their own, right? Like they didn't need hand holding. They didn't need a lot of things that we've had to do in the past. And so it was really great to have a meetup of women who were just like, yeah, we're just here to hang out. We have love for each other. And so we're going to show that in community. And I think that I don't think anyone got on the naughty girl list this year.
Okay.
I don't think so.
That's great.
I don't think anyone got on the like, never. There's someone who I'm like, there's some couple people where I'm like, I got to keep my eye on you.
Oh.
But no one was on the, if you buy a ticket, we're going to refund you, which we had to do.
Right.
Yeah, like you can't come back to an event. And that, when you're
good, you've trained us.
I think we have, but you know what I mean? Like you have to come into an event like that with good intentions, right? You have to, back to joy. Back to joy. You have to bring your joy with you, and you have to lead with that. Because if you're leading with complaints, right? It's
gimme. Yeah.
A good experience for you, right? And so, how do you? In some of our events, someone's unhappy about something and they don't like bring their unhappiness to us. They just go around and whisper here, whisper there, dissatisfaction to other women who are like, I'm having a good old time. Leave me alone. Right. Like,
good.
You're not going to bring me up. But, that, if that is who you are at home, you're bringing that into a situation where people aren't necessarily, well, that's not the vibe, right? The vibe is, happiness and joy, whatever that group space is, right? Like, how do you leave the discontent that I'm sure you hang around in at home and come into a space, I don't want to say elevated, but that's as close as I can.
And just be open to, even if you're able to bring a joyful feel, you can be open to it and be ready to experience it. And I think the way you framed the event, it was about co-creation, so that people knew it was not just passive, get served and be served, and it was going to be, you bring the joy, you create the joy, you create the experience with us that you want to have. And I think that's how it happened, is that you framed it in a way that people understood that they were going to be taking an active part in creating the community, creating the joy and the experiences that they could have with other people.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a great time. Okay, so I think that when we look at our lives, we have so many opportunities to like choose what we're going to feel and how we're going to sit in it. And so I want to talk about the practices that you use in your life to focus on joy.
Yeah. Okay. What do I do? So I've got my hammock. That's joy. That's like rest and relaxation. And you know how kids are in swings and they love being in swings? There is something about, I saw some science article that where this motion of going back and forth in a swing or a hammock is really restful for your brain.
Mm-hmm.
And I do experience that like multiple times a week. And that was something that I did when I took a year off, 2015, 2016, somewhere around that. I took a year off and I spent a lot of that time in my hammock. And that's where I sort of learned to lean into that rest. What's that hissing sound? Do you hear something?
No.
Okay. So yeah, that. And then also I do some yoga, like restorative yoga. I'm trained in Reiki, so I do Reiki on myself and sometimes other people. I can do distance Reiki too. And yeah, I'm very woo. Like I'll do tarot, I'll draw a tarot card and read tarot. I'm a very woo person and I'm a Pisces, so I try and like to let myself feel feelings when I have them. Try not to bottle them up. I just run experiments. That's what my joy is. It's like trying different things. I'm somebody who, not that I get bored exactly, but it's like my mind is always thinking of new things and I want to try different things and I want to see like how does this get me closer to my happiness. So, I was vegan for 3 years. I liked it a lot. I loved the food. Then I went to Mexico and I had to flex and eat some cheese and I'm like, I guess I'm not vegan anymore. Yeah, I think that's a thing. I used to, when I was younger, I used to get down on myself because I would think, oh, I'm a dilettante. I'm not sticking with anything. I'm just doing, this, that, and the other thing. Like I have 2 master's degrees. I have one in creative writing, one in journalism, which really is sort of like almost like a metaphor for how my brain is. Like I like to be creative and I also love structure. And I like going back and forth between the two. So yeah, I just try and let myself follow my curiosity. If I'm curious about something, try something. And I also allow myself to quit things, stop doing things if I don't like them. I think it's important to know that you're not stuck in something. So I also, like in the middle of my college years, I took 5 years off. Yeah, I started at Yale. I finished my sophomore year. Thought I was going on a semester abroad that turned out to be 5 years of exploration. And then I went back to school.
you just talked about quitting, and one of our sisters from Burnout To Bliss community, Dr. Catherine Sophia Bell, was on this channel earlier, and she talked about how quitting often is like the thing that's quitting something is the thing between you and your happiness, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's really interesting because we're so often programmed that we have to persevere through like the hard parts, and like, joy comes in the morning, but like right now is real hard. So like, right. And often like the thing that we are striving for, when we get it, is not what we thought it was going to be. Right.
So often.
Or it's not when we get there, even if it is what we thought it was, we realize it wasn't worth what we did, which is usually suffer to get there. And so I'm really fascinated with the idea of like quitting something as your path to more joy, right? Like how the link between being, I think for a lot of us, it's the idea that like quitter has like that negative connotation, right? And so for a lot of us, right, the idea that you don't finish something through is a negative in our communities, as opposed to just being like neutral or positive, right?
Yeah.
Right. We change so much over the course of our lives that sometimes what you thought of would be good one year isn't the right thing for you 2 or 3 years down the line.
Definitely. Yeah. And you, as you're doing a thing, you can be aware of how it makes you feel, how you're feeling. Do I still want to be doing this? Is this the sense of accomplishment that I'm going to get at the end of finishing something? Is that going to be enough to see me through the challenges? And maybe sometimes it is. And I mean, there is some really lovely feeling of, God, I really did this. Gosh, I really accomplished this. It's great. I'm so happy, to have done some things in my life that just I'm really proud of. And there are other times when I'm just like, this is not it. This is not it. This person is not who I want to be with. This job is not what I want to be doing. This school is not for me. You can transfer. It's fine. I mean, it has to be worth the effort. Everything is an effort. And so you do have to sort of, there's a price to pay for everything that you want to do. And the price is energy, the price is money, the price is time. The price is not doing the other things that you might want to be doing. And so, yeah, it's just being aware kind of at every stage, or maybe just checking in with yourself pretty regularly to see, is this still what I thought it was going to be? Is this, maybe, do I want to pivot? Do I want to completely quit? Do I want to keep going? Do I want to maybe get some support in this project? Do I want to maybe, there are a lot of different ways of not quitting, which if you have a goal that you really want to finish, there are different ways of getting that done that don't make it so that you have to suffer. I think, yeah, maybe let's reduce the amount of suffering that we go through,
You talked about like figuring out whether it's going to be worth it, like worth the effort.
Yeah.
Do you have any like internal meter for that?
I mean, well, yeah, like with the retreat, it was a gut check. It was 100% gut, like literally, like, how does my stomach feel today? Like literally, like, why does it feel so bad? And then, there's the pros and cons lists, that tried and true method. Yeah, there are different ways of figuring out whether you want to finish something or not. Yeah, a lot of it is a gut. A lot of it is your gut, intuition, gut. And I mean, you can logic your way through a lot of things. You can say, well, X, you can make a whole list of an argument telling yourself, convincing yourself that you have to stay in a job, or you have to stay with this person that you don't love anymore, or you have to do this, that, or the other thing. You can logic your way into things. And if I feel like if you're logicking yourself, if you're leaning super, super heavy on logic, maybe take a pause and do like a gut check.
But I feel like even a lot of a logic, like a pro and con list, I feel like that's just putting your gut on paper. You know what I mean? It's putting it on paper. And then at the end of the day, it's probably a gut check, because it's not like I have 3 pros. Well, I hope it's not like I have 3 pros and 2 cons, so it's a pro. You know what I mean? Because we have to weigh the different pros differently. And I feel like that for me, when I do something like that, it's really like, and now I bring my intuition in. Now, you know, like I've put everything on paper because I was really confused, and seeing it all. Now, what does my gut say?
Yes. Because I feel like you know what you want to do, but sometimes you do need to see it. You see it all laid out. You put all the ingredients on the table, and you figure out, what can I make with this? Does it make sense? Like, put everything out there, and you're like, oh yeah, this is never going to be a lasagna. There's no cheese.
So, Kat, what are you trying to make in your life now? What's your lasagna?
My lasagna is, I'm looking for a new place to live in terms of country, city, location within a new country. That's a big thing. I need to do that this year. I feel like this is the go time. This is the time, good transition time. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I feel like I've also been looking for a home almost my entire life. It feels like I haven't, like, DC is my hometown and my family's here, and yet I've outgrown it, I guess, or it's outgrown me. Like, it doesn't feel like my place anymore. And so that's like probably the biggest thing in my life right now, is just like, I want to find a place where it just feels like, this is my place. Even if it's just for a few years. Or
now, you mentioned that Kathy has selected Portugal, Kathy Hampton, your retreat partner, another from Burnout to Bliss alumni. Have you picked? Who knew? Okay, that's one I haven't experienced before. Have you selected have you narrowed down your list?
Yeah, I sort of did, and now I'm thinking I might want to expand it again. I don't know. So I had narrowed it down to Mexico and Portugal, and I do have my temporary residency card for Mexico. It was one of the things I did. I renewed it when I was in Mexico earlier, and and Portugal. I love being in Portugal. There are certain things that give me pause about Portugal, just about the visa process, where, you have to be there, and it would be like having a kid in the States and not having the flexibility to travel gives me pause. And also recently they had an election, and Portugal is going a bit more right that I'm comfortable with. So that gives me pause also. Mexico's water issues give me pause. But I know that every country that I look at is going to have some kind of challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do have to do sort of, some gut checks and some sort of feeling through things. And I guess maybe, am I asking too much of a country? I don't know. But I think I have to find a place that's I feel comfortable and happy and excited to be going to. Yeah.
I was in Johannesburg the day I was leaving, so 2 days ago. I don't know when that was. And I'm there and I'm thinking, this could be my second home. It's always been on my list of places that I could see myself living. I was like, maybe I'm bi-continental. We'll see, and then that last day, there was a internet outage, and we didn't know what was going on. But we're out. I was with Katrina, another from Burnout to Bliss sister. There's a lot of them around the world. I'm just realizing. I don't have a number, but I'm realizing there's a lot of us all over. I'm with Katrina. who's on her sabbatical now, and she we're at a spa, maybe like 20, 30 minutes from where we were staying. We're staying close to each other, but not in the same place. Maybe like 10 minutes away from each other. And we can't get an Uber because we can't call an Uber.
Oh, wow.
And it lasted about an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we were at a spa, and at some point I recognized that the women we were communicating with were not problem solvers. But they were not hired for their problem solving skills. I don't know why they were hired. I don't know what they're good at, but it was not like getting to the solution, because we were like, oh, I don't have any service. She doesn't have any service. We need to call an Uber. And it was like, no. Katrina asked, can you call a cab? And she was like, just call an Uber. And we were like, we've told you our phones aren't working. So going back and forth and telling us just to call an Uber isn't like, we're talking about cabs because we can't. So it was that kind of like, but it was hours in the city of like, I talked to a friend who lives there, and I think I figured out a way to like get around the load shedding where the electricity goes off. And then she was like, but also we have water issues too. Your neighborhood might lose water because their water, I heard their water system is, the pumps are electric. So if the electricity goes out over where those pumps are, there's no water getting pumped to the houses. So sometimes when the power goes out, the water goes out. And then so I had all this in my head, and then there was no internet for hours. And I was like,
struggle bus.
Like, I know this can happen anywhere, but like, I need to get to the airport, and tickety tick boom, I can't. It was a mess. And it was one of those things that reminded me that like, no matter where you are, there's going to be a problem. Like that outage in the US on the cell phone carriers that was 2 weeks ago, like there's always something. And how do you deal with the something, right? Like for me, the water shortage in Mexico City doesn't mean that I'm going to move away. It means that I need to figure out how me, as someone who lives here, which is very different from someone who's vacationing in a place, what are the solutions that I can find, or what are the ways that I can learn to live with the status quo? And I think that's a different question than, will I have a great time on my vacation, right? And so when you're picking those places, these are all things to think about. What are you doing?
I came in like a wrecking ball. Come at me. She's coming for me again. All right, I heard your message. I get it.
That was not a message for you. I was just talking. But actually, let's talk about it. What are you looking for in a place you move to?
What am I looking for? It doesn't need to be a quiet city, but I need to find quiet places within the city, or town, or not city, whatever.
You're good with big city or small town, as long as there's quiet spaces in the big city.
Yeah. I probably don't want to be super isolated. I know that. Like I don't want to be on a farm or something. That's not my scene. But I would love access to water, access to green space, access to nature, easy access to nature. Stable economy would be nice. Non-right-wing government would be lovely.
Really narrowing down that list there with that one, just shrinking it.
A language that, so I feel like as a place to live, I need to be able to at least read the alphabet. So Thailand, no. And also I need to be close enough to the States in case I need to, see my kid in a hurry. So Thailand also out. So, New Zealand, Australia out. Asia, most of Asia is out, probably. Yeah. I'd love some warm weather. Not super hot. I was in Merida in January, and it was one of those times when they say you get fooled into thinking that Merida's heat is okay. It was fine. It was warm, but it was fine. But I also think, okay, if Merida gets a water shortage and everybody has a pool in Merida, and what if you're in Merida in the heat and you can't fill your pool up? Ciao. Ciao, no.
Like someone's listening to this and being like, you don't really need a pool. It's not that big of a deal. But I remember talking to Colby in the very first few months of having this channel, who lived in Merida, and she was like, I go in that pool every single day to cool off.
Yes.
It was like a little dip pool, but like,
Yep.
it's, which is a tiny thing, but people like, that is one of the ways people who live in that community have learned to deal with the heat. And so I think that's something people don't pay enough attention to. How are the people who were here before you dealing with the environment? How are they dealing with the economy? How are the people that you're coming after, right? What were their solutions? And if everybody in the community has a pool, pools are important, right? Like that is their way of cooling off. Merida has a ton of malls because it's like Dubai. You got to go somewhere to cool off. Where is the air conditioning, right? Yeah. Where is the air conditioning? Because the bills in the house are too much, right?
Right. Yes.
And so really when you're thinking about moving somewhere, looking at the solutions and seeing if those solutions are right for you. My mama loves being in her pool every day. I'm not, like, even out in the sun, because her pool isn't really shaded. I don't want to be out in the sun in the pool. I want to be in the shade, which makes the pool not really that's not a really viable cooling option for me, because I don't want to be in it until the sun, until it's shaded.
Oh, see, I have a big hat. Get a big hat, sunglasses, get in the pool.
I'm like, please.
Yeah. All right, you gotta have good food. I mean, if I were to go to Costa Rica, I'd be like, okay, I got to bring my spices with me. That's fine. I'll bring my spices. But it's not exciting food. So I don't know. Costa Rica's maybe. I have that same feeling with Panama. Hi, Damaris. Yeah, Panama. Somebody needs to talk to me about the food in Panama. Ain't nobody said the food is delicious. Ain't nobody said Panama's culture is exciting. Ain't nobody said that.
Vera just showed up, VM Experience. Another, Vera from Burnout To Bliss. Look at y'all all here. Yay. And she is in Panama now. She's not in the city. She's out on the beach.
That's right. Yeah.
But she also lives with a chef. So I don't know.
Bring your sand to the beach. That's right.
I don't know that we can trust her experiences.
Yeah.
But experiences. But I'm sure they eat out enough to have a good idea.
Yeah. I feel like what I might be doing is expanding, because I was very narrow. So what I might be doing right now is expanding the options, and then I choose Portugal. That's what I guess.
At least in that situation, you've had time to. You can't say I got my blinders on. I thought about Portugal, put my blinders on, and never considered anything else. Like you're taking the time to say, is there something that's better, right? And also, I feel like one of the things we don't talk about enough is that this is not a one and done decision. It's not, I have moved to Portugal and so I shall be here forever. Right? You get to pick up again if you want to pick up again.
Yeah.
Which I hate. I'm going to say something. It's going to take me a minute to get it out.
Yeah.
Okay. It's easier to do that when you pack light, right? When you're not shipping.
I know.
I saw a photo of someone moving the other day, and all of their. I don't know their situation, so this is not me speaking negatively about it. My brain couldn't comprehend it. They had all these boxes packed up and numbers spray painted on them. I think the highest number I saw was like 38. And I was like,
it was within the city?
No, it was a move to a foreign country, from one country to another.
Were they doing a pack and ship kind of situation?
I saw it and I was like, what is happening? And then I moved on. I see something on Facebook and my brain doesn't really. Sometimes.
You know what though? What I learned in my couple of months of traveling around Mexico is that, and I stayed with like a few different expats. Um, there's different ways of expatting, so many different ways of expatting that, you could be somebody who, like one of the people I stayed with, she's American, she married a Mexican man, they have 2 kids, the kids go to, their local Catholic school. She does not have a filter in her house, you can't drink the water. I don't think they don't have a dishwasher. Like she just brought her suit, like one bag, and like from the ground up built a life, just thoroughly Mexican, went local. There's another family I stayed with that had like whole house water filter, dishwasher, garbage disposal, community pool right on the beach. And, their house looked like, it was, it felt like an American house, big fridge, all the things. There are just so many different ways of expatting. You can bring all your stuff. You can bring one little bag. You can bring your thong and like, you can build your life from the ground up, or you can bring all your stuff with you and just plant yourself.
They're all very valid options. My point is that it's easier to pick up and go if you're just bringing your thong and going, right? Or one bag. When you have 30 or 40 boxes of things that you brought from one place to another,
that's a move.
You may be, it's a way to do it. It's a very valid way to do it, but you need to be sure that that place you're going is your place.
Yeah.
And not even just like the country, but like the city. Like city to city move in Mexico, I don't want it. I got too much stuff. At this point, right, I've built my life up, but I have too much stuff. So how would I get all right?
A guy, find a guy, like hire a guy. Yeah. Big truck.
Truck. But there's so many ways you can do everything in this space that it's really important to do the thing that's right for you and not the thing that you see other people doing, but if everybody's doing something one way, I want you to ask yourself if that way would work for you. It doesn't have to, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, if everybody in Merida has a pool, there's a reason.
Yes.
Pray Travel Eat is here, and I think that's who it was. No, yes. I live in Merida and we have a pool. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Even the person who was like very local and like, didn't earn a lot of money, she has a pool for sure. Yeah.
There's you know what I mean? Like, find out if everyone is doing something one way, find out why, right? Like, what's the reason here?
Yeah.
And for them, for Merit, my impression is that it's the price of, you can't just be in the air conditioning all day because the air conditioning is crazy expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive. Yeah, I would just run it in the evening, like at night,
to cool off the house before you go to sleep. Yeah.
No, during sleep, but otherwise, no. Cool shower.
All right, so you were a student in From Burnout to Bliss, and you have, I'm gonna call you alumni now.
Okay.
But you're always welcome.
Yeah. I was. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I technically didn't take a break because I was working the entire time I was in but I did take a break. I mean, it feels like a break, like from the previous chapter, the previous phase. It definitely was a break in that way.
It was a transition. Yeah. Can we talk about the group coaching from Burnout to Bliss? Because so many people are here. Marissa's here. A bunch of people who are in that program. Damaris is here, are here right now. And I want to talk about the group coaching, because you mentioned coaching earlier. And how, if any way, that impacted you? Like, what was it that you got from group coaching? Because you were a regular there.
Yeah. So I think what the thing that stands out for me is that you talk about the resistance that you get when you get closer to what you want to do. And people will throw all kinds of like they'll throw all kinds of things on the railroad track to stop the progress of their time away, sabbatical, move abroad. Like things will, I got to get 4 sets of tires, or, oh, my sister getting married, or, something is just, oh, well, I'm going to. And so one thing that you said, like in November, I think to me, when I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much stuff to do. You're like, well, what is something that you absolutely have to do before you go? Like what must get done? And I told you there's one thing that must get done, and I did it, and there it was.
Yeah. Lauren is here from coaching, and Carmen, who is in the course but is saying she needs to lean into the group coaching. Carmen, we have a session tonight. Anyone, if you want to sign up and attend group coaching tonight, the link is in the description. It is from burnouttobliss.co. And one of the reasons I talk about it here is because, like, I see it change women's lives.
Yeah.
And it's weird to say. It's weird to say that about something that I've created.
Yeah.
But I need to sit with that more, right? Like I see the women I coach around the world, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. But it doesn't really feel, because I don't see you all the time. It doesn't really feel real.
Yeah. It's like a touch point. It's a touch point in your progress. Yes. And I think you really help people get out of their own way. And help people recognize how they're getting in their own way.
Are you getting out of your own way?
I mean, I did when I traveled and like to make that happen. Okay. Am I in my own way? I have to figure that out. Yeah. I'm still work in progress. Everything is still work in progress. Yes. I will say yes. I'm getting out of my own way. And yeah, I am.
Okay. And I think one of the really great things about the program is that the women, like you really get to sit in a room with women who are going through the same thing you're going through. Because a lot of times what you're doing, it feels like you're the only person doing this. And in the group coaching program, you get to sit with women and hear women ask questions that you may not even thought of asking yet, but now that you hear someone else say, it's like notebook time, right? Yeah. Yeah. You get to hear people like Vera bullshit for a long, long time, and then finally like make the move, right? And I'm always going to call that out. Always.
Yeah.
Always going to call it out. But there's the idea that everything moves further and faster with a group. And for a lot of women, this is their group of doing that. Yeah. Group coaching is this evening.
Yes. And it's also almost, how in bicycling, bicycle races, you do this drafting thing where the person in front of you and you get into their draft and it's like easier. And the person, so you're kind of like, everybody's watching Vera move to Panama and we're like, oh, wow, I'm in the draft. It's moving faster for me. Because it's just like you're in a peloton. Is that what it is? Is that what a group of bicyclists is? You're in this group and it's like you're moving not in this in the same direction. You're not literally going to the same place, but you're in the draft of somebody else who's moving and you're like, oh wow, I can do that too. And it's just kind of, this helps your forward momentum.
Okay. All right, forward momentum. Mm-hmm. What would you want someone who's in the group, someone who joins the group now, what could they draft behind you for? Or what would you like to say they drafted behind you for? If you're looking back a year from now.
A year from now. Oh, yeah. Moving abroad. Moving abroad and figuring out all of the various pieces that go with that. The work piece, the house piece, the visa piece, all of that logistics and emotional bit. You can draft behind me as I move out of the United States into my next chapter.
Okay. And I feel like a lot of people who are thinking about something like this feel like if I'm not going to make the change, like in the next 6 months, like it's too early to think about it. Right. Or like it's not really like real yet. And I think you're a good example of someone like, I say this with love, I hope you know, but like meandering a bit, right? Like figuring out what is the right, taking your time to figure out what is the right path for you instead of just like shooting straight ahead and saying like, I'm going to do X. If it doesn't work, I'll do Y. Instead, you're taking the time to figure out where your joy is, right? Where place and the thing that is going to make you happy. And you're taking the time, like you said, you did what you needed to do for your family, which was wait for your daughter to graduate and go off and be a little adult. And that's still part of your consideration now. And so, we have a lot of mothers who are like, can't do it. It's like you started planning years ago for this.
I've been telling her. I've been telling my kids since middle school, just so you know. Because my kid does not like surprises. She does not like sudden moves. She likes to know what's happening in advance. So I'm like planting those seeds, letting her know, get ready. Years, literal years. So.
Okay. All right. And that's question. Do you think she's ready?
Oh, for me, no. No. But she's been forewarned and it's not a surprise.
Okay. And so even if she tells you, I'm not ready for you to go, you're going to go anyway? Okay. You have sacrificed for a while for this. So yeah, it's your time. I find a lot of times women aren't able to say, it's my time now. Right. I think you're a really good example of saying like, I made a choice for you for years, right? I didn't do what I wanted to do because I wanted to make this work for you.
Well, I did what I could. It wasn't that, I took short trips, different places, short trips. Then I'm, now that you're in college, I can take a longer trip, 2 months I can go. And now that you've completed your first year, I can
you can really leave.
Make a move.
And she'll be okay. She'll be okay.
Oh, you always worry.
You hear, my point was that not just that mothers do it, but wives do it as well. Like people in partnerships say like a lot of times there's someone who sacrifices and there's no flipping of that, right? It's one person who is used to sacrificing all the time. And so I'm really, really proud of women who say like, okay, we've done it your way for so long, right? Like, and now it's my turn.
Yes.
And whatever that looks like, because a person who's not used to sacrificing, it's not usually easy for them to say like, what do you mean we have to do what you want and not what I want? That's not how this goes, right?
Yes, they're so surprised. Yes.
Sometimes that can be a huge transition. And so I'm really impressed when women take the time to say, all right, it is my turn, right? Like we've talked about this, we've done this thing. It is my turn now to do my thing. And so I'm super proud of you because it's tough.
Yeah, watch this space, right? Because I have intentions and I'm going to follow through. It's just, it's going to be another sort of process of eliminating the resistance and eliminating the blocks.
Okay. All right. Can you talk to us a little bit about what Rebloom Room is going to look like in 2024?
Rebloom Room is going to look like me doing some more interviews with women on my YouTube channel. I'm probably going to maybe keep adding them to my podcast. I kind of let my podcast lie dormant, but I'm going to add some more stuff to my podcast using my YouTube as fodder. And if the cards and the timing aligns, I would love to do a very relaxed retreat in the fall.
Where do you want to do it? What do you want it to be about? Tell us everything.
No, I want it to be, I'm still formulating, but I want it to be about creativity and rest.
All right.
So if, people, a lot of times we have a creative project that's in the back of our minds, that's in our journals, that's in our, laptop somewhere, and we just never give it the time. And so maybe there's like a box of paints or a box of, art supplies that you haven't touched in months or years. And maybe you want to give it a little space to just play around and experiment with your creativity and bring some of those ideas and those practices into, like, let it be, play with it. Or even if you have a project that you want to complete, maybe, you want to finish a novel or a short story or an article, and you want just some time to focus on it. That's what it would be. I'm thinking it would be sort of, my dream has been to do, like, have a house. I would have a house for a month, and then women would come for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, depending on what their schedule allowed. And just kind of have people kind of floating in and out. So that, because I know when my kid was younger, I could go for 5 days. That was my limit. I would have to be back, or a week. Then I have to be back, or at this point I can go someplace for a month. So I'd like to have, allow for a variety of schedules, like different kinds of schedules, people in different stages of their life, being able to do a retreat for however long fits into their schedule.
How can people who are interested in something like that keep in touch with you?
Just go to Rebloom Room. Yeah, go to rebloomroom.com and get onto my mailing list. It's on the homepage. Just add your email and stay in touch.
See if I can drop a. All right, so
look at the comment from Astrid. Listen, Rashida, she could very well come in like a wrecking ball into your life. It is true.
No, I'm very nice to you for the first few months. It's when I see you with bad patterns, unhealthy patterns that do not support the joy in your life, that I'm a start throwing things.
Yeah.
And not everyone gets it. Like, it's truly like, you get the best of me. It's my favorite thing to do online. It's my favorite thing to do. Like, that group coaching, I love it. We do it once a month. It makes me so happy. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to tell you to do what makes sense for you. And I think that's what a good coach will do. Like, I'm not telling you need to sell your house and leave. I'm telling you that if you need to sell your house and leave, why haven't you called a realtor yet? How long are we going to talk about this every month? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that's what you tell me you want to do, if that's not what you want to do, I'm just going to ask you about everything you want to do. What's the thing you want to do? And how do we make this work? Right? Because we aren't all on the same path. I can't think of any two people in the program who have the exact same situation and who are walking down the same path to the same place. But the great thing about group coaching is, like I said before, you hear one woman ask a question or make a comment, and it's opened up something for you that you never even considered, or a possibility you never considered, or something to address that you wouldn't have addressed without that conversation. And so group coaching really makes a difference. And so come on, Astrid, join us. It's a good time. And group coaching is this evening.
Okay, so as an alum, if I come to the group coaching this evening, will you kick me out?
No.
Just checking.
If you're on my email list, did you get the email about it?
I did.
Okay.
Okay. So that's official. Okay.
Yeah. No. Like, I only send the email to people who are gonna come.
You're like, you weren't supposed to be on the list.
No. You're good to go. Rhonda, who's in the program, says definitely her experience is that. I think she's saying her experience is that I'm not mean to you until you reach like Vera levels of getting on my nerves. And if you're in the program, you know exactly what that means. If you don't, you've heard me talk about it. And Vera says, I will call you out for real. I will call you out for real if, like, you're sabotaging yourself. That's when I start calling you out. Like, okay, sis, like you said, you want to do X, and now you're like negative X, negative X, negative X, and that's where I'm like, okay, wait a minute, what do you really want to do? Like, we can quit things, right? Just because you say you want to move abroad one day doesn't mean you want to do it a year from now or 6 months from now. But if you haven't quit, right? Like, how do we get you back on track and moving towards your goal? Yeah, no, the love is tough, but the love is there. And you have so many other women who like will be nice to you in the group. If I've ever been me, the rest of the women are super nice to you.
And we're like, been there, girl, been there. She just like
such a great experience to be with women with that camaraderie for people who are often feel like they're doing this alone, right? Or there's no one else in my city, or I don't know there's no one, like no regular meetup. If you don't have an accountability buddy, if you don't have someone you can talk to about your fears in this category, it's really good to join a program, somebody's program, my program or somebody else's, in order to, make that happen for yourself. All right, I'm going to drop the link to Rebloom Room. Radical care and international travel for Black and brown women over 40. Bum, bum, bum. Are you over 40, Kat?
Indeed. Indeed, I am.
60?
And then some.
Oh, okay. All right.
What do you mean, okay? Like you didn't know.
I'm kidding.
I'm the granddad.
Listen, Black women, I'm like, you're over 12 and under 100. I don't know what's happening in between there.
Indeed.
All right. So I'm going to drop the link to your site.
Thank you.
So they can sign up for your email list if they want to know about the retreat that may happen at the end of the year.
Yeah, or just be on my list and follow my exploits.
Okay. Oh, Rhonda wasn't saying what I thought she was saying. Rhonda was saying that she's learned from others and considered things she hasn't thought of previously. Very insightful. The ladies are being with women who are getting it done, right? Like Katrina is now on a 12 to 18 month sabbatical. Like watching their progress is drafting. I hadn't thought about it like that, Kat, but that's the new thing. It's drafting.
Yeah.
Somebody who's doing it. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What is something about your journey from diapers to now? I'm leaving it completely open. That you want to say to the women who are watching?
So diapers to now, long journey. I would say that selfish is not a bad thing. You have to remember to be selfish when you can. So my dad had this thing whereby he had a rule that while he was married to my mom and raising me and my sister, for necessities, kids come first, then the wife, then me, meaning my dad. For luxuries, dad comes first, then mom, then the kids, maybe. So if you can work out a formula for yourself whereby you always get something that you need or want, like you got to put yourself in the formula. I mean, kids take and take and take, and they need and need and need, and that's what you signed up for when you became a parent. But make sure you're in the equation always, and be selfish when you can.
Okay. In which ways are you selfish now?
Yeah, I think it's selfish. Like, I think it's selfish to move out of the country when my kid doesn't want me to. I think it's selfish. And I'm okay with that. I think, if I sell the house that she doesn't want to sell, that's selfish and that's okay. Yeah.
What state is she in now? If you don't mind sharing.
First year.
What state?
Oh, state, New York.
Okay. So she would be happy if you stayed in DC the entire time she's there, and probably when she's when she's building her life wherever she builds her life after college, which may not be DC, but she'd be happy if you were in DC just waiting for her. Okay.
This is the thing. This is the thing. Ain't nobody sitting here like a bump on a log waiting for you to come back. What am I? What am I? One of those Portuguese brides? No, no. You're off to sea, sailing, discovering countries. No, girl, no.
She said, "Ma, I'm not going to see you frequently."
No, and even when you're here,
she's not here.
I mean, if you hear the phrase, "Mom, get out of my room," once, you'll hear it a million times.
Right.
So, yeah. And wherever I am, my kid has a home.
Okay. And an interesting home. She may get to learn Portuguese a little.
Yeah. Yes. We tried that idea. I mean, yes, we both love learning languages. We both do. Both.
Okay.
But also she's probably going to be a physicist, or she doesn't want to do physics in Portuguese. That would probably be like a mind exploding experience.
Yeah, I could see that. In Portugal, had you considered a city or a location that you thought would be right for you based on the criteria you laid out before?
Yeah, I think something like the Setúbal area.
Okay.
Because there's, Setúbal's a little city, a lot of nature access, a lot of oceans access, not as crowded as the bigger cities. So I'm thinking that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So a little bit of a city life. And how long would it take to get into a major city from there?
From Setúbal, if you're driving and it's not rush hour, maybe I think an hour.
That's not bad.
I don't know how. Yeah. If it's rush hour, because there's only one bridge. If you're going to Lisbon.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, but an hour outside a city, I could have an hour in this city and I'm still in the city. In the city, right?
Yeah.
An hour's not bad to get to a place that feels like home. So, yeah. Nice.
Oh, okay. Nubia Nut says scientific positions in Europe are usually all English. Fascinating. Okay. See, I'm not a science person. I don't know these things. Thank you.
All right. What has been your biggest challenge to getting you to the point you're at right now? I'm getting ready. I'm picking my places. Getting ready to move out. You already have your residency. Along the past, the journey, the move abroad, the sabbatical, the whatever this is going to look like journey, what's been the biggest challenge you faced?
My biggest challenge is knowing that if I sell my house in DC, I will never live here again.
Okay.
Just because the way the housing market is.
What does that feel like when you say that?
It feels really challenging because my parents are still here. My dad and stepmom are still here. And, my kid has her base here. And so that would be, with her dad and his side, that side of the family. So that feels like, that makes me feel, that sort of makes me feel like I really want to find a place that can replace that home feeling, because I've spent time when I was kind of really wandering, when I lived in London, I was just wandering. And when I, lived in New York, I kind of moved from neighborhood to neighborhood and floated. And so I've floated a lot in my life. And I've enjoyed a lot of things about being settled. And so, yeah, I would like to have that settled feeling somewhere else. I'd like to have a home base. I really think I would like that.
Okay. But you sound like you're a floater.
I've done it. I've done that life.
Okay. But you enjoy having a home base more?
Okay. Yeah. I think like having a house sat for 2 months, going from place to place, I really enjoyed it. But I also was like, happy to be in my own bed, happy to have my own kitchen, happy when my cat's happy to see me. Like, yeah, I like I like that. At least having, even if it's like a little pied a terre somewhere, it
Okay.
doesn't have to be like a Vermont. It doesn't have to be like the Chateau de McDonald. I just want like a place where people can't tell me that I can't be there.
Okay. I do. So I miss floating a bit, but I do love having a home base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you've got your stuff. You can paint the walls. You can put your gold dots on the back. you know, you have your kitchen, my favorite kitchen stuff, and just like close the door, and it's just me or just me and whoever I want to be with me. And yeah, just the idea of only ever being in somebody else's house all the time, I wouldn't like it.
Yeah. So B brings up a good point that we've talked about. No, talk about somewhere else, not from Burnout To Bliss. And that is I'm gently going to call this trauma, B, but like the trauma of not having a home of your own as a child and how that can manifest in your life as an adult. And someone that I know in this community sold their house and hadn't bought anything yet, but they were like, so they had, any house in America is probably hundreds of thousands of dollars hanging out. And she was so stressed about getting another job because she was holding on to that money to buy, because she needed to buy something in the next country she was going to, because the idea of living in a place and like not even just not having a home base, but not owning her home base was something that like she couldn't wrap her mind around.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the things as we make these big transitions, a lot of what we have to do is like look at the ways we're tied to things in ways that we don't need to be, right? She's not going to be homeless because she's renting any more than you might be homeless in your actual house, right? Like it could catch on fire. 1,000 things could happen in either situation that would put you out on the street.
Yeah.
But how do we deal with what we have experienced and look at things in a way that allows us to expand beyond what we've suffered through?
Yeah.
So I hope also be that you won't need that security blanket, but some people just I want plants, and I can't have plants if I'm in a new place every week, right?
Yeah.
And so I need a home base. At the same time, I know that having a home base alters the way I move through the world. Like I'm less likely, like leaving for 6 weeks is hard for me because like there's a place I pay rent. Now I got to pay to stay somewhere. Ew, right? Like, and my bed, I'm sleeping on someone else's sheets. I don't know when they wash them. Every time I go to Airbnb, I'm looking at all the forks and the I gotta wash these things because, right? But part of that is the adventure, right? And sometimes I want the adventure, and sometimes I just want to hold my plant.
Yep.
Figuring out how to balance that, and knowing that you don't need necessarily to be one or the other all the time. Right? Like last year, I was here most of the time. This year, I'm away most of the year. Right? Figuring out how to balance that for yourself is one of the great things you can do, because when you take a career break or move abroad, the great thing about it is, and I know you're experiencing this, Kat, you get to like start from scratch and decide whatever, like, right?
Weird. It's so weird.
Are you for a treehouse to live in, or a camper, or Chateau McDonald's, right? Like, what is how are you going to build a life that supports who you want to be? And you get to do that amazingly by making like completely brand new decisions.
Yeah.
Like things you never would have considered doing before, you get to do.
That's the thing. I love it. I love that. I love it. I love it.
Okay, so because we did talk about this in Burnout To Bliss. All right. But I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about somebody else in my mind. But that
Yeah.
You've never owned anything. Girl, go rent something else. Hi, Auntie Marilyn. Yeah, there's an expansion that happens when you get to start from scratch and say, every decision about my life is something that I get to choose, brand new all over, right? Like you don't, often the only decision you get to make is like, is this the year I get a new car? Which might be a decision, or it might be, okay, my car broke down, and so I need to, you know what I mean? Like it's not, where am I going to live? How am I going to get around? Who are my friends going to be? What am I going to do for fun? What am I going to eat? Because that's one of the things you got to decide. Like you're going to a place where you like the food, right? All of those are decisions you get to make. And it can feel like a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot.
It is a lot, but it's not unmanageable, right? Because you don't have to make every decision today, right? Yeah. And even if you make a decision, if you decide 6 months from now you don't like it, you just make a different decision.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, once you start
to make decisions, and then you make a choice.
You make a choice, and then you sit with it until you decide whether this was right or wrong, and make a different decision.
Yes. Yes. And it is easier once it's just you making the decision, as opposed to you, 5 dogs, 2 cats, a spouse. That makes it even more.
Yes. But having a spouse doesn't mean that you don't get to do this.
No, true.
Having children doesn't mean that you don't get to do this. It just means that you need to figure out the way you can do it in a way that works. Not for everybody. Everybody's not going to be happy, right? Like for the most people, for the people who are, I'll say, in charge, right? Like, or the people who, like the people who have to be the ones to carry the burden, right? Like if you, and that doesn't necessarily mean the person who's paying, if only one person's paying for it. Sometimes that means the person who's like responsible for making everything happen.
Doing all the research, making all the choices.
Yes. Right. I know quite a few women who are like, you know, like you in the sense that like my kid doesn't want to go, so I'm not going, but like your kid is 3, right? And that's a long time to put off what you want when your child, in my brain, I could be wrong, but like the very young and the very old are alike in the sense that like, what is this change? Why is this different than yesterday? Right? And they're never right. Like there's no, they want the fruity snacks they know.
Yeah.
Take them to another country. They ain't got the different snacks.
Yeah.
It's real fruit, not
I know. Have an apple, baby.
Fruit dye with like color dye and fruit flavorings, right? Like but they don't, I don't want a strawberry. I want a strawberry. And so at some point, the resistance, if you know what's in your family's best interest, the resistance has to take a back seat. The resistance you can allow the resistance to take a back seat to the possibilities, right?
Yeah, you are the parent, so
yes,
you make the executive decisions.
Yes, hopefully.
You got to. You must.
They want to watch Bluey, right?
They want to watch Bluey and Baby Shark and Blippi.
They don't care what country they're in, really, right?
Yes, I know. I took my kid to Costa Rica when she was however old she was when she could first drag her own carry-on luggage, 9, 10. And I'm like, remember the time when we did the zip lining? She's like, at this point, she's like, zip lining. I'm like, girl, do you understand the sacrifices I made? No. That's not their job to understand.
But if at that time you had said we're moving to Costa Rica, she might have fought it for a while, but
no, my child would have No, that's not, no. My child would have fought it, and she would still be fighting it. That is
You
not my
think so?
that is, I know my child. She doesn't stop. No. She's
What's her
not,
sign?
no, Gemini.
Okay. All right.
She's one of those kids, and when you drop your kid off at preschool, they'll say, "Oh, they're only crying because you're here. Once you leave, they'll stop crying." My child would cry for literally the entire day. Many's the time I came back, she was still crying. Like, no,
Okay.
it's no,
All right.
no. With her, no means no, for real.
That a person doesn't pay no bills tell you no.
Everybody suffers.
That is a fact. That is a fact. Yes. Yes.
Oh, you got to choose your battles. Choose those battles.
Yeah. And you get like you've given her a life.
Yeah.
And now you get to go live yours. That's really exciting. It's really exciting.
Yeah, it is.
So, all right. I can feel myself fading. The jet lag is kicking in again. So I'm gonna get out of here soon. But before we go, Rebloom Room.
Rebloom Room.
Retreat, maybe.
Yeah.
No April retreat because wrecking balls and such. If you could have anything this year, what would it be?
This is a question my dad asked me. If money was no object, what would you do? If I could have anything. I would say I would. Okay, so Portugal they still have some stuff post-election to get themselves situated to form some coalition government. They will form a coalition government that I can live with, and then I move there.
Okay.
And I find a beautiful apartment on the top floor of a building with an elevator and a beautiful view south of Lisbon in the Setúbal area.
Have you written all of that down?
Yes, multiple times.
Good. But it's going to happen. Write it down, make it happen. It's on its way. On its way. The government is not going to be as bad as you think it's going to be. As it could be.
Right.
I feel it. Election years are tough, man.
Yes.
Here too. And
I know. It just feels like churning up of the waters. A lot of churn. A lot of information to ignore. Like, it's hard to know, what do I ignore? What do I not ignore? What's just noise?
Noise, right?
A lot of noise.
Right. But even with like the noise, I think when you're considering something like you're considering, it's like even post-election, right? When things have settled down a bit, then it's like you said before, does this align with what I thought it was going to be, right? Mm-hmm. You move to any country, whether you're in your home country or not, any country, it could be, it could be one story in 1 year and another story another year.
Like, look at Ecuador. Ecuador was like calm, and now this year it's been bonkers.
Yeah.
You can't predict this stuff. You don't know.
And even if you could predict the political carrying ons, like, are you gonna have power? Are you gonna have water? Are you gonna, right? Like all of those things which is why I really think if you want to move abroad, you should spend time looking for your place, but you shouldn't over-index the importance of the perfect place. Because I think you're not, right? Like, pick a place that seems like, oh, this seems like it'd be fun. I feel like I would like it. Let me check it out, right? And if it doesn't work for you, find something else in that same category. But a lot of times people use that attempt, that like search for perfection as a procrastination tool.
Yes.
It's like, you're not going to find a perfect place.
This is true. This is what I'm telling myself.
Yeah.
This is the message for me today is no place is going to be perfect. Every place is going to have the downside and the upside. And, you know, just because like a place looks easier doesn't mean that it's the place for me, because there's undersides of the easy. So yeah. Is it, am I going to take the harder route of moving to Portugal, the harder route? I'm going to take the easier route of moving to Mexico.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to take a third place. Who's to say?
Jan says we're going to have to go off the planet for these things. So maybe Mars.
I'm not leaving this beautiful planet. I love this planet. I'm not leaving.
Is the planet going to get rid of us, though? Because I feel like at any day, she's going to be like, I've had enough.
She's like, flick us off like a booger.
You wanted water, here's the flood. Right? Like, here we go.
Yeah, y'all just ticks and boogers in the world. Yeah, the earth could be like, just open up and just swallow all of you and like go back to day one.
Weird because like I feel like I will be generally okay in my lifetime, but I don't think I've ever said this before, but I'm not sure if the earth is like humans are going to be on earth in 100 years because of what we're doing to it.
Right.
Like, it's so weird to say that. Like, we can't, these things are not sustainable. Like, it's too hot. Yeah. It's too hot. In places where it's hot, it's too hot. In other places, it's too, like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And like, the fact that like the obvious environmental issues are rarely, if ever, put ahead of capitalism is wild. Like, what you gonna do with the money after the Great Flood, right? Like, what are you gonna?
An ark.
Like,
I know.
Maybe you're not the one to build the ark, right? Like, Elon's not going to be on the ark. Like, let's be real, right? We were the first people.
Yeah, there's only one of him, so he can't go on the ark. There's no, they broke the mold, so there's no 2 and 2 with him.
But yeah, like it's really weird to think about the fact that like I don't know if it's what form, I cannot imagine what form this planet is going to be in 100 years.
I know. So hot. So hot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
But I wonder
even Denmark is having water issues because the level of the water, because of the global, the heat index or whatever, the water level has risen that much so that now the salt water is seeping into the aquifer or whatever it's called. Yeah. So they're having to figure that out. Yeah,
I'm wondering what the real number of years is, right? Like, is it 100 years? Is it 80 years? Is it 50? Is it 1,000? And I'm just,
right.
But
it's all a blip in terms of Earth years.
Yeah, it's all a blip in terms, but in terms of human years, so like, hello.
I know. Humans. I remember those. What were those again? Humans. What were they? Those organisms that were like
starting from scratch over again.
Right. The Earth is going to be like, I vaguely remember like some hominid type thing. I don't remember
back in like 10,000 years.
I know the Earth will be like scratching its head, like, oh, wait, I think they were running around.
Lots of bones, ruining things. They're running around ruining things. The cold things are melting. It's just Anyway, that was very doom and gloom, which is not really where we go here. But
what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? So find your place now, because your place may not exist in 100 years. Oh, also, I will say this. If there's something that is important to you, like a bucket list travel item, do it now.
True that.
Get it on the calendar now. Get on the calendar for next year, because they're like, cities are cracking down on a lot of the things that you can't go to anymore. Or like they won't
climbing the pyramids or whatever.
Right, like going down.
The cenotes are getting polluted too.
Right? Like the things you think you have forever to do The environment is saying no, you
Mm-hmm.
don't, or the humans are saying no, you don't,
Yeah.
right? Because they're
Peeing all over everything.
rising, everything's changing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, if you have a bucket list item, get it done.
You know, I don't believe in bucket lists. You know that.
I know. That wasn't for you. That's for everybody else. I don't have a bucket list either.
I just like what's next.
I'm a very what's next kind of person.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, whatever happens like this year, what fits in.
Yes.
What doesn't.
I'd love to go to the Caribbean sometime this year.
Okay.
Or some beach or Baja. Go back to Baja. I would love that too.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are excited to see what you come up with. How often do you email your list?
Well, maybe once or twice a month. Not often.
Okay. So if people want to get, what kind of stuff do you email them?
Sometimes I will email them if I remember to, hey, I'm going to be live this week, or hey, do you want me to take a nap? And if so, when would be good? Or, hey, register for this retreat, or here's something that I learned on my travels in Mexico, that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, I just dropped the link to her website. If you want to join Kat's email list so you can get in there, get all the details, do that. If you want to subscribe to her channel, the link is in the description. She is Rebloom Room, as you see on the screen right now. Get it done. Stay in touch with her, because that artistic project retreat sounds creative, is what you said? Yeah. Creative.
Yes.
That sounds like a house where you're just like doing in my brain, like somebody is like putting a plate of figs out on a table and I'm sitting there and writing. And that is like the best life.
Yeah. Yes. And one thing, we were going to have an art journaling workshop at our retreat. Dara was going to lead that, and I'm really missing that. I think I really wish I would have that. So something, art journaling, doing art, making things, and letting go of the outcome, or deciding you want to finish something, and however you want to approach it. So yeah, I've gone on writers retreats before, and I really love that experience. And so I would love to do something similar.
Tara, another from Burnout To Bliss friend.
Yes.
Do you think it's possible to do something like that online, or does it have to be done in person?
We could do it online. We could definitely do something that online. Thank you for that idea. Yeah.
Because I saw it and I was like, I'm jealous because I can't make the retreat, but I want to art journal.
Yeah.
Carol has never offered me the opportunity to art journal with her.
I wonder. Okay, yeah, she would have to figure out for art journaling. Yeah, you'd have to ask her if she wants to do that. But maybe I could do a retreat where we do like an online one. We do like maybe a series of 3 or 4 where Dara comes on, or like Alicia Renese comes on, or maybe Kathy Hampton comes on for journaling, something like that.
That'd be good.
Honestly, run some experiments. Try it out.
Is the way to go.
Yeah.
All right, friends. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Now you know who I am. You know who I am. Come and get me.
You know where she is. From Burnout to Bliss group coaching is this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We still have time to join and catch us live today. Bring your questions, bring your comments. If you're in the chat now and you're in from Burnout to Bliss, I want to see you there this evening. Now, no judgment if you can't come. Right? My brain only holds so much. I'm not gonna remember who was in the chat, but come on, let's hang out. And I hope that all of you guys are having excellent days. And until next week, next week is Easter? No, week after. Yeah,
March 31st or some such.
Okay. Yeah. I think next week will be fine, but Easter Day, I won't do this and maybe do something in the evening, but not in the daytime. I don't know. Something's gonna happen different, huh? I don't know. What should I do on Easter, Kat?
You should wear a bonnet. No, you should. I don't know, what do they do in Mexico? It's probably a big deal.
I'm going to be in Atlanta.
Oh,
I should not have said. Okay, y'all. I'm going to be in Atlanta for one day. I cannot meet up. So if anyone is like, we should have a meetup, we should not.
are you flying somewhere? You're
I'm flying to Bermuda to take the cruise that I'm going on.
yeah.
Yes, but one day in Atlanta.
Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Maybe brunch or some nonsense. I feel like Atlanta's probably a big brunch place. No.
Yeah, I just said I can't meet up, and you
No,
said
no, no, not you. Just you. You said,
yeah.
"What should I do?" I said, "You can
Oh
have."
no, I meant what should I do for this for the live
Oh, for the live. Oh, I see.
for live stream
On that
'cause it's
day
Easter,
on Easter,
right?
maybe you could like. I'm thinking about Easter Bunny hiding things.
We're gonna talk about this offline.
Yeah. You could hide. What do they call them? Easter eggs in your video.
Ooh, smart. She's creative. I don't know how to make that happen, but we'll think about it. We'll think about it. All right, friends. Thank you, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Till next time, you guys have all the best. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.